the day has arrived. It's Sunday morning, June the 7th, and we're awake. It's before 7 a.m. We are getting the cabin all ready for the voyage. Everything's looking good. Just got to put the dinghy up on deck. We'll head right over there out the bridge and off towards Grenada. Engine is started, boat is all prepped, and we are about to pull up the anchor. There's Lindy, got the helm all ready. Here we go. Okay, we're out of the bridge. Okay, sails are up. Moving along. Very nice. This day we had been thinking about for weeks or even months had finally arrived. This passage would be twice as long as any we had done in our 4 years of cruising. We definitely had anxious feelings, and the 3 months we had spent in St Maarten due to the coronavirus had made us unaccustomed to the feeling of the open ocean. There we go. Goodbye to St Maarten. We've been there 3 months. You can see St Bart's over there. And we are heading between St Eustatius and Saba. We can see them off in the distance. There's Saba over there. All right. Nothing to do but just go at this point. All right, we're kind of getting settled in now. We've been out most of an hour. We're flying along. This will probably be our best sailing angle of the whole trip for the next 5 hours. So we're taking advantage of it. We're really moving upwards 6.5 to 7 knots sometimes. And yeah, it's nice. Nice day. You doing all right, Lindy?
Yeah.
Are you nervous at all?
Of course. But it's not too bad. It's gotta be done. Nothing to it but to do it.
It's a good attitude. See what it looks like out here. Over there. St Maarten in the background. This is a boat over here, Second Spray, we've made contact with. They're also going to Grenada, so hopefully we'll be able to sail along with them most of the way or the whole way. St Bart's. Water come over the rail down there?
Oh, I don't know. It's like it spray shot off down there. We like slid down the back, so like the stern of the boat like pushed water that way.
Oh.
That's what happened.
Nice. Cool. Well, this is amazing. Hopefully it stays nice, just like this, for the next 3 days.
This first 30 miles had a great sailing angle, and the waves were far enough off our nose that we weren't bashing into them at all. Plus, the distant islands ahead gave us a visible goal that was encouraging and would be different from the next 340 miles, where we would sail off into the open ocean, mostly out of sight of land, for 3 sunsets.
Okay, it's around noon. We've been out a few hours and just haven't really even had to touch the sails. Going really well. Then over here, we've got a good view of Saba as we're sailing by her. St Maarten getting smaller and smaller in the background. And we can see St Eustatius. We're going to go really pretty close by it. And also coming into view is St Kitts and Nevis. Yeah, we're basically going to be going by all the islands that we would have visited this year had it not been for coronavirus, but that's all right. We'll see them next year, and it's going to be kind of cool to sail by them today. It's about 2:30 and we've made our turn around St Eustatius, so we're kind of pointed more in the direction that we need to be pointed in to go to Grenada. The wind's still allowing us to sail, so things are going well. We're just going to be going along the lee side of these islands here, St Eustatius, St Kitts, Nevis.
On our new angle of sail to the wind and waves, we were near the coasts of these islands, which tends to confuse conditions for less comfortable sailing. We decided to hug the coasts anyways, as in general we were going the right direction, and this would be our last chance at being close to any land.
The seas are a little bit more on the nose now that we're going down along the side of these islands. We don't know how long it'll be like this. It makes for a little bit more bouncing, but we've been in worse for sure. This is just what we'll be dealing with for at least the next little while.
As the day progressed, we were glad that the wind was still good for sailing and we hadn't had to use the engine yet. It was now well into the afternoon, and the first thoughts of night sailing, the fears that go along with that, were starting to creep in. We looked for a few ways to pass the time as we sailed along.
It's the holiday fun house.
All right, don't make yourself sick down there.
There we go. All right, I better quit before I get hurt. Oh man. Very nice. It's a little after 5 now. We've had to alter our course and head out from the islands because the wind shifted. You can see St Kitts over there. Nevis, Montserrat's over that way. We're still just bashing along. Got a little bit of a rainstorm up ahead that we'll probably maybe go through a little bit, so that should be interesting. Still got the main with a single reef, and the head sail, we've really got it reefed in. You can see there's not a whole lot of head sail out, but it's enough to move us along. Here you can see Second Spray, our travel partners, still right behind us. Yeah, going well.
Watching the sunset is almost always a beautiful thing, and it may seem that there could be nothing more adventurous or exciting as doing an ocean passage at night in a small sailboat. But honestly, we don't like it very much, and around this time we're usually pretty frightened and nervous. It didn't help matters that despite a better forecast, the winds were building into the 20s and would continue to build all night long. But there was no turning back now, so we rolled in the headsail to a tiny little scrap. Unfortunately, we had passed the time and conditions where I felt I could safely go forward to the mast to put a second reef in the mainsail. So we made the best of what was a wild ride through the night.
Pretty. I can see the lights of St. Kitts and Nevis, about 13 miles off the coast. It's getting dark, and yeah, we're just moving along. Alright, here we go. Nighttime sailing. Well, that wasn't the best night ever. We were able to sail all the way until 4:30 in the morning, so that was 19 hours of sailing. It was really gusty, and we were close hauled at like 20 knots, hitting waves, heeled a lot, and neither of us got much of any sleep. We went by Montserrat, can barely see it in the distance, and we're kind of angling over towards Guadeloupe and Dominica. We're in the break-in period for the new motor, and we didn't really know how that would go. We're supposed to run it at 2100 RPMs. It worked pretty good on the sea trial in the lagoon, but our speed out here in you know, wind and waves and current, and with the boat totally loaded, it's very, very slow. If we don't have any help from the sails, we're tough getting 4 knots. Right now we've got a little help from the sails, so we're moving along at 6 knots. That's great. And you can hear the new motor. We're at cruising speed here. Probably not nearly as noisy as the older videos with the Westerbeek. Lindy.
Morning.
Montserrat over there. And I think we can see Guadeloupe over here. So I think there's going to be a lot of motoring today. But that's all right. Oh, and we're still with Second Spray. Sailing right out there. About a half mile off of us. We've stuck together and through the night, communicated by radio. It's very nice to have something like that.
It's nice just to have somebody to bounce ideas off of when you're like, oh, should we try more sail? Should we try less sail and motor sail, whatever. So it's cool.
Very, very cool. There we go. I mean, they're helping us a little bit. Not too much though. We may have to bear off a hair.
We also took the opportunity, with plenty of daylight and benign conditions, to put a second reef in the mainsail. We ended up keeping that second reef in for the duration of the passage, no matter how light the winds got.
All right, we've been out over 24 hours now. Only 2 more days or so to go. There's absolutely no wind right now. We're going like 4.5 to 5 knots, mostly less than 5 knots. It's a beautiful day. You can see Guadeloupe over there. We're waiting to get a good visual of Dominica and just relaxing. We ended up going so slow that Second Spray couldn't quite match our slow speed, so they're pulling away a little bit, but you know, hopefully we'll get some sailing wind here before too long and we'll be able to make up ground and get back with them. Just motoring away.
As we passed 40 to 50 miles offshore of the large islands of Guadeloupe and later Dominica and Martinique, we continually went through shifting and variable winds, constantly switching from motoring to motor sailing to sailing throughout the day and night.
Finally, some wind. We're motor sailing now, making up that lost time. Got the sails full. Moving pretty good. Right, finally.
Under normal circumstances, we would have sailed in to Guadeloupe or Dominica or one of the previous islands to break up the trip to Grenada and rest for the night. At the very least, we would have sailed closer to shore in case we had a boat problem, instead of being 40 to 50 miles offshore, which is basically a full day's sail. But due to coronavirus, all these countries' borders were closed, and we would not be allowed entry.
Well, and it wasn't long before now we're not motor sailing. We're sailing. Moving along good. So we're back to motoring in very light winds. But the good news is, Lindy had me reread the Yanmar manual for the engine. I found out that I was wrong. You only have to do that really slow speed for the first 10 hours. For the next 40 hours, you do various speeds, mostly high ones. So, we're moving a little bit faster, and yeah, it's going pretty good. It's 4:15 now. It's pretty boring. What would you say that you're a little bored by now, Lindy?
I'm a little bored. There's not much to look at except you know, endless ocean and sky. The islands are all too far away. You can't really see them. But yeah, so there's, you know, we've seen a couple of birds, but not much. A few flying fish, but you know, it's pretty boring.
Yeah, not too much going on. No other boats around. We saw one fishing boat that came and kind of circled us, and we were like, oh Lord, it's pirates. But they weren't pirates because they didn't get us. It's real comfortable right now. We're bouncing around a little bit, but compared to some of the conditions we've been in, this is not too bad at all.
Despite some boredom, and knowing that we weren't even halfway done with the passage, including 2 more overnights we would have to endure, we were very happy to have a full day of benign conditions, even if it meant having the engine running some of the time.
Sun's getting low. What you got, Lindy?
Burritos. I'm gonna put them in the oven so they can warm up.
All right. They look giant.
They are kind of big.
Dinner time. Some of our miniature dolphin sightings. Oh, I just saw one. They're hunting in our wake back there. Okay, one just jumped right, there went one. One just jumped right next to the boat about 8 feet in the air and caught a fish. Taking off. I think they're still back there where we were. Very neat.
Seeing the mini dolphin and eating Lindy's delicious burritos helped morale as we transitioned into our second night of sailing.
Well, here we go. Night number 2. Let's hope it's better than night number 1. So we're in between Dominica and Martinique now, and the wind got just the right speed and angle where we could sail. So I've got the motor off for the first time in a while, and it's just beautiful outside right now. Check out the moon over here.
At this point, we were both fighting exhaustion due to not being diligent about taking turns resting during the day. But conditions were definitely better than the first night. In fact, from 9 p.m. to midnight, I had Holiday flying along beneath a full moon in sporty, close-hauled conditions while Lindy slept. What you see here is pretty much how night sailing is. Not much to be seen, and you just hear the wind and the waves. So we've been out almost 44 hours now. The sun's just rising. It's after 5 in the morning, but we hadn't been doing good on our watch schedules. Out of the first night, I maybe got 30 minutes or an hour of good sleep, and I don't know, Lindy maybe the same, and we just didn't force ourselves during the next day to just lay down with our eyes closed to try to sleep. And after dinner last night, I went to rest first at about 8 o'clock, and Lindy took the first watch. And at about 9 o'clock, I just, even though I was really tired, I couldn't make myself go to sleep. And I talked to Lindy, and she was starting to nod off. And that's when I started sailing, close hauled, heeled over, and she was trying to rest. By 11 o'clock, I was starting to nod off. It's a bad situation when both people are exhausted, and you know, there's all kinds of different things that can go wrong on the boat. To fix them, you're going to need, you know, it's mentally challenging and physically challenging. It was very, very important that we started to get some sleep so we would be able to keep good watch and, you know, take care of anything that came up. I laid down at midnight, and I started finally being able to sleep. And then Lindy, out here in the middle of the Caribbean Sea with no land or anything for more than 50 miles, made every sail change decision, every, you know, time to turn on the motor to be able to keep the course, all sailing decisions without waking me up for 4 hours, and I was able to get caught up on sleep. She was really did good last night because you know, this close hauled sailing out here, it's pretty difficult. There she is, getting her rest now. But yeah, I mean, pitch dark, boats bouncing all over the place, and she just took care of everything. It's awesome. I mean, she doesn't even really like these passages very much, and she gets really nervous, and especially the nighttime parts she really doesn't like, but she took control and did everything that was needed to do. Now I'm feeling better about things since I've gotten to rest. So I'm going to try to rest more during the day because we've got about 26, 27, 28 more hours. Hopefully we're going to need to stay up one more night, hopefully arrive the next morning. So we've been out almost, so that's just, yeah. But, yeah.